She took the job nobody wanted at a cruel, rich cowboy's ranch. What she discovered changed everything. Maya stood at the edge of the landing pad, the twin suns of the desert world glaring down at her. Dust swirled around the massive metal structures that made up Rourke Ranch. From a distance, it looked like a perfect mix of old cowboy charm and modern technology. A sprawling ranch with sleek metallic barns, hovering drones circling overhead, and mechanical gates that slid open without a sound. Yet a strange tension filled the air, as if the land itself knew something about this place that no outsider should. She adjusted the strap of her backpack and stared at the tallest building at the center, the main house. Stories said that Jax Rourke, the owner, was rich beyond imagination and cruel beyond belief. People whispered that employees never lasted more than a week, that some left in fear and others never left at all. But she had taken this job. She had no choice. The corporation she'd been working for had collapsed suddenly, leaving her with debt and no future. When the listing for Rourke Ranch had appeared, she almost laughed. Wanted, ranch hand for harsh, remote estate, tough conditions. Pay high. Everyone had ignored it, dismissing it as a scam, but Maya didn't need a normal job. She needed a challenge, and if there was one thing she knew, it was that she could adapt. The main gate creaked and a man stepped out. He was tall, broad-shouldered, and moved with a calm, deliberate confidence. His face was rugged, sunburned from the desert, and a faint scar ran along his left cheek. But it was his eyes that unsettled her, cold, sharp, calculating. "You must be Maya," he said. His voice was deep, calm, almost lazy. "I'm Jax Rourke. Welcome to my ranch," Maya nodded. "Thank you, sir. I'm ready to start." Jax's lips curved into a small, tight smile. "Good. Nobody else wanted this job. It's not easy here. You'll see why soon enough." He turned and started walking toward the house, his boots kicking up small clouds of red dust. Maya followed, her heart pounding, not with fear but anticipation. The ranch was enormous. Robots tended the fields with precise movements, planting strange crops that shimmered under the twin suns. Mechanical animals grazed in fenced areas, their movements jerky, unnatural. Drones hovered in perfect formations, scanning the horizon. Yet despite the technology, everything seemed tense, as if the ranch itself was on alert. "You'll live in the workers' quarters," Jax said, leading her past the main barn. "It's simple, clean, and secure. Eat when you're hungry, sleep when you can. There are rules. Break them and you're out." Maya took a deep breath. "Understood." He nodded once as if satisfied and then added, "Most people don't last a week here. You'll see why soon." As he walked away, Maya felt the weight of those words, but instead of fear, she felt determination. She had never been the type to give up easily. That night in the small quarters, she unpacked her belongings and examined her surroundings. The room was modest but functional, with a bed, a small desk, and a storage unit. A window looked out over the fields, where shadows of strange robotic animals moved under the twin moons that rose slowly in the night sky. She sat on the bed, thinking. Nobody wanted this job, maybe, that's why it's the perfect opportunity. The next morning she woke to a strange sound, metallic clanging and low whirs echoing across the ranch. Stepping outside, she saw drones hovering closer to the ground, scanning every corner, while robotic livestock moved in oddly precise patterns. Something felt off. The animals weren't just following instructions, they seemed almost aware. Her curiosity got the better of her. She followed a line of robotic cows toward a fenced area at the back of the ranch. That's when she noticed it, a small enclosure hidden behind tall, reinforced gates. Inside, the machines moved differently, slower, almost carefully, as if they were observing their surroundings. Suddenly, one of the drones turned sharply toward her, its sensors glowing red. She froze. A voice spoke from a speaker attached to it. "Human detected. Identity unknown." I'm Maya. I work here," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. There was a pause. Then the drone retracted its sensors and moved away. Maya exhaled sharply. This place was more advanced than she had imagined, and clearly more dangerous. By midday, she met the other staff, a small team of humans, all rugged and quiet. They gave her polite nods but said little. It was clear they had learned not to speak much in front of Jax. She sensed their tension, their wariness. Everyone here seemed to carry the same silent understanding. Survival was more important than comfort. Jax appeared at lunch, walking among the workers with his usual calm presence. "Eat," he said simply, pointing toward the table. His eyes scanned everyone like a hawk, and for a moment Maya felt exposed. He paused near her and tilted his head. "You've got guts, showing up here when everyone else runs," he said. Maya shrugged. "I don't scare easily." His eyes flicked toward the fields. "Good. You'll need that." After lunch, he led her to the barns. "Your first task is simple," he said. "Observe the livestock, make notes of any irregularities, and report to me. You'll find things that don't make sense. That's normal here. You'll learn quickly." Maya nodded, but inside her mind raced. She noticed the same thing she had seen in the back enclosure: robotic cows behaving strangely, occasionally hesitating, twitching, or even circling around areas as if avoiding something. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in red and gold, she sat on the edge of a fence and made notes in her small tablet. Something was off about this ranch, something deeper than Jax's reputation or the harsh conditions. She didn't know what it was yet, but she knew one thing: this was no ordinary ranch, and she wasn't here by accident. That night, Maya couldn't sleep. The distant hum of machinery and the quiet whispers of the desert wind kept her alert. She replayed the day in her mind, wondering what secrets the ranch held. And deep down, she felt a thrill she hadn't felt in years, the thrill of stepping into the unknown, of being the first to see what nobody else dared to explore. Outside, the twin moons rose over the metallic barns. Shadows of robotic animals moved silently across the fields. Somewhere in the darkness, a pair of glowing red sensors watched her window, but Maya didn't notice. She was too busy planning her first real investigation of the ranch tomorrow. She had taken the job nobody wanted, and already, she realized, the job had taken her into a world far stranger and more dangerous than she had ever imagined. And yet, she felt ready. The next morning, Maya woke before the twin suns climbed high in the sky. Sleep had come fitfully. Her mind was racing with questions about the strange robotic animals she had seen the day before. Something about their movements didn't seem random. There was intelligence behind them, an order she couldn't yet understand. After a quick breakfast of nutrient bars and water, she stepped outside. The desert air was sharp and dry, and the wind carried a faint metallic scent from the barns. Drones hovered above the fields, their sensors scanning every corner, and robotic cattle moved with the same strange caution as the day before. Maya decided she couldn't wait for instructions from Jax. If she was going to survive here and understand this ranch, she needed to explore. She walked toward the main barn, keeping low and quiet. The barn doors were automatic but had been left slightly ajar. Pushing them open, she entered cautiously. Inside, the smell of oil and metal filled her nose. Rows of mechanical animals stood idle, their metal bodies reflecting the soft light from overhead. Then she noticed it: a narrow hatch at the back of the barn floor. The hatch was partially hidden beneath a loose metal plate. Maya's heart pounded. Something was definitely hidden below the barn. She bent down, examining the hatch. It had no handle, only a small touchpad with a faint blue glow. Curious, she touched the panel. The hatch slid open silently, revealing a dark stairwell leading underground. Maya hesitated. This was not part of her assignment. If Jax caught her here, there could be consequences. But her curiosity was stronger than fear. Taking a deep breath, she climbed down the stairs, careful not to make a sound. The stairwell opened into a dimly lit corridor. The walls were smooth metal, with pipes and wires running along the ceiling. The hum of machinery echoed softly around her. Maya moved forward slowly, her eyes adjusting to the low light. She soon found a room filled with equipment unlike anything she had ever seen. Tanks of glowing liquid lined the walls, each containing strange shapes moving within them. Some looked like animals, but their forms were unnatural, elongated limbs, translucent skin, and glowing veins. Others seemed almost human, though distorted and suspended in the glowing fluid. Maya's stomach tightened. This was more than a ranch. Jack's work was conducting experiments, and they weren't normal. A console at the center of the room beeped as she approached. Lights flickered across the screens, displaying data she didn't fully understand. Strange symbols and graphs scrolled rapidly, showing biometrics and energy readings. She touched one of the tanks and the liquid rippled gently. A small creature inside looked at her with glowing eyes blinking slowly. It was alive, somehow alive. Suddenly, a voice spoke behind her. "I see you found the secret." Maya spun around. Jack stood at the top of the stairs, arms crossed. His expression was unreadable, but there was a glint of amusement in his eyes. I didn't mean to intrude," Maya said quickly, stepping back. Jax descended the stairs slowly, his boots echoing on the metal floor. "Curiosity is not a crime," he said, "but it is dangerous." Maya's mind raced. She needed a way to explain herself to survive this encounter. "I was studying the livestock. They move strangely. I wanted to understand why." Jax's eyes narrowed. "You're smart, I'll give you that. Most would have panicked and run. These experiments, they are my life's work. And now, you're part of it whether you like it or not." He paused, looking at the tanks. "I am trying to create something new, biotech that can survive environments humans and normal animals cannot. I need resilience, adaptability, intelligence. Machines alone can't do it. That's where humans come in." Maya frowned. "You're experimenting on humans," Jax shook his head. "Not like you think. Volunteers, willing participants, they help improve the system. But yes, some experiments are difficult, some fail, that's the cost of progress." Maya's stomach churned, but her curiosity pushed her forward. "And the livestock, the robotic animals," Jax smirked. "They're the first test subjects. Their behavior is monitored, adjusted. We're blending biology and technology, learning what works." She took a step closer to the console. "If these experiments are so advanced, why does everything feel so tense? Why do people fear you?" Jax's expression softened for a moment. "Fear is natural. Humans are unpredictable. They survive because they adapt. I respect that. But not everyone can handle it. That's why most leave." Maya nodded slowly, processing. The ranch wasn't just about cruelty. It was a test, a place where human intelligence, resilience, and morality were challenged against advanced technology. "I want to help," she said finally. "I can study the systems, improve efficiency. I can make things safer for the workers." Jax tilted his head, studying her carefully. "Bold. Few would step forward like that. You might last here yet." He led her back to the surface, the tanks and glowing liquids fading behind them. The sun was higher now, casting long shadows over the fields. The robotic livestock moved in precise patterns, the drones hovering silently above. "You'll need to observe carefully," Jax said as they walked past the barns. "Everything here is connected. The animals, the machines, the humans. Watch, learn, and adapt. That is your real test." Maya's mind buzzed with questions. She knew that what she had seen below could change everything, if used correctly. But it was dangerous. Any wrong move could end her time at the ranch, or worse. For the next few days, Maya observed. She kept detailed notes on the robotic animals, their strange behaviors, and the minor anomalies in the fields. She watched the workers, noting their routines and interactions. Slowly, patterns emerged. The machines reacted to the humans in subtle ways, adjusting their paths, slowing near certain workers, hesitating near others. It became clear. The ranch wasn't just a workplace. It was an experiment in human adaptability, in decision-making, in resilience. Machines and biotech could be programmed, But humans could think, improvise, and survive. One evening, while Maya adjusted the sensors on a mechanical cow, she noticed a small crack in its movement system. Using her engineering skills, she fixed it quietly, watching the animal return to its grazing pattern. It moved smoother now, less hesitant. She realized something important. Humans could improve machines in ways the machines themselves could never do. Later, she shared small improvements with the other workers. They were wary at first, but as the robots became easier to manage, trust grew. Maya saw a spark in their eyes, a sense of hope, a feeling that they could survive and even thrive in this harsh environment. Jax noticed the changes. One morning, he stood silently at the edge of the field, watching the robotic livestock move more smoothly, the workers more confident. For the first time, his expression softened, a small glimmer of pride showing through his usual sternness. Maya realized something. She was beginning to change the ranch. Slowly, carefully, she was turning fear into efficiency, chaos into order. Humans were adapting and excelling in ways the technology couldn't predict. That night she returned to her quarters, exhausted but exhilarated. The desert sky was dark, the twin moons casting silver light over the metallic fields. She thought of the hidden lab, the glowing tanks, the strange hybrid animals. She thought of Jax and his complex, almost cruel methods, and she thought of herself. She had taken the job nobody wanted. She had stepped into a world that scared everyone else. And already she was learning things that no one else could see, doing things no machine could do. Somewhere deep underground, the tanks pulsed with light, their mysterious occupants watching silently. But for the first time, Maya felt less like an intruder and more like a player in a game she was beginning to understand. The real test was just beginning. The desert sun rose like a golden shield, painting the metallic barns and robotic livestock in bright light. Maya stood outside her quarters, notebook in hand, watching the fields. Over the past week, she had been observing patterns, noting the behaviors of both the machines and the human workers. Slowly, the hidden truths of Ranch were becoming clear. The ranch wasn't just about cruelty or labor. It was an experiment in survival, adaptation, and intelligence. Machines could follow rules perfectly, but they could not think beyond programming. Humans, if given guidance, could improve systems, solve problems, and adapt faster than anything Jax had ever anticipated. Maya had spent hours repairing minor glitches in the robotic livestock. Today, she planned something bigger. She had noticed that the feeding drones often collided during the early hours, wasting energy and frightening the animals. She had a simple idea: adjust their flight patterns using a program she could load into the control system. She approached one of the human workers, a tall man named Eli, who had been silent since she arrived but clearly knew his way around the ranch. "Eli," she said quietly, "I have an idea for the feeding drones. I need help running tests. Are you willing?" Eli hesitated, then nodded. "If it works, it could save us time and keep the animals calmer. I'm in." Together, they climbed to the central control panel. Maya's fingers flew over the interface, inputting new instructions, recalibrating sensors, and adjusting flight paths. The drones whirred softly, then rose into the sky. Instead of erratic patterns, they moved in precise, fluid formations, distributing food efficiently without startling the livestock. Eli whistled softly. "I've never seen them move like that. Good work." Maya smiled. "It's just common sense. Machines follow rules perfectly. Humans can notice patterns and improve them. That's what makes us valuable here." Word spread quickly. By midday, several workers approached her, curious about what she had done. Some were skeptical, some hopeful. Maya explained her method: observe, understand, improve. Small tweaks could make life easier and safer. Over the next few days, Maya worked quietly but determinedly. She repaired broken systems, optimized machine routines, and created small tools to make labor less exhausting. Workers began to notice a difference. Machines moved more smoothly, energy usage dropped, and the robotic livestock became calmer and more predictable. One afternoon, Jax appeared at the edge of the main field, arms crossed, observing Maya as she guided a group of workers. His expression was unreadable, but the corner of his mouth twitched, almost like a smile. "You're changing things," he said, his voice calm but firm. "I didn't expect that from someone who just arrived." Maya looked up. "It's not about me. It's about using what we have, the machines, the humans, everything, to make the ranch function better. Efficiency keeps everyone alive here." Jax nodded slowly. "You understand adaptability. Most people don't. They follow rules or they quit. You think differently. That could be dangerous or valuable." Maya didn't flinch. "I want to make this place safer and smarter, for everyone." He studied her for a long moment, then walked away without another word. But Maya could feel that he was watching her closely, measuring her skills and intentions. That evening, she returned to the hidden lab beneath the barn. The glowing tanks pulsed softly in the dim light, casting eerie reflections on the metal walls. Maya carefully examined the control panels. She had noticed patterns in the biotech systems, small inconsistencies in growth rates and energy usage. She realized that, with careful calibration, she could improve the stability of the hybrid animals. It was risky. If she made a mistake, Jax would know immediately. But Maya thrived on challenges. She adjusted the energy flow, monitored the reactions of the creatures, and carefully recorded every change. Slowly, the hybrids became more stable, their movements smoother, their biological systems more balanced. Back above ground, the ranch was changing. The workers noticed subtle improvements in daily routines. Tasks that used to take hours now took half the time. Machines worked without constant human intervention, freeing workers to focus on higher-level tasks. Confidence began to grow. Humans were no longer just surviving, they were thriving. One evening, Maya gathered a small group of workers. "We've been solving problems quietly," she said, "but if we work together, we can improve even more. Machines are strong, but they can't think like us. That's our advantage." The workers listened intently. Slowly, they began to contribute ideas: better irrigation methods, improved livestock care routines, even adjustments to drone flight paths. Maya encouraged every suggestion, combining human ingenuity with technological precision. As the sun set, casting long shadows across the fields, Maya looked out over the ranch. For the first time, she felt a sense of ownership, not ownership in the sense of control, but in the sense of understanding. She had entered a place nobody wanted, a harsh and dangerous world, and she was making it better through her skills, her intelligence, and her determination. Then came the challenge. One night, while checking the fields, Maya noticed a disturbance. A group of robotic cattle had become agitated, moving erratically in a confined area. She ran toward them, sensing danger. The drones above whirred, but their movements were chaotic, almost panicked. Maya realized that a system error was causing the machines to misread signals from the livestock. If not fixed quickly, the animals could harm themselves or each other. She jumped into action. Using her tablet, she recalibrated the sensors, rerouted energy to the control nodes, and issued manual commands to the drones. The animals gradually settled, their movements returning to normal. When Jax appeared shortly after, Maya was still working, sweat on her brow, focused and determined. He watched silently as she completed the task, then spoke. "You did what the machines could not," he said. "You adapted, improvised, and saved them. Humans can be unpredictable, but in the right hands they can be stronger than technology." Maya wiped her hands on her pants. "Machines are tools. Humans use tools. The difference is thinking, observing, deciding. That's what matters here." Jack studied her for a long moment. "You might be more useful than I expected. I usually don't trust new workers with critical systems, but you earned that trust tonight." Maya felt a small spark of pride. This was more than recognition. It was proof that human ingenuity mattered. Even in a world dominated by technology, human thought, creativity, and courage could turn chaos into order. Over the next week, Maya continued refining systems. She worked closely with the workers, teaching them small hacks, encouraging observations, and building confidence. The ranch transformed. Efficiency improved. Tasks that had seemed impossible now ran smoothly. Even the robotic livestock behaved predictably, thanks to careful human adjustments. One morning, as the twin suns rose over the desert horizon, Maya stood at the highest point of the main barn. Below her, the ranch spread out like a living organism, machines and humans moving in harmony. She felt a surge of satisfaction. They were proving something fundamental. Humans were capable of adapting, improving, and thriving, even in the harshest environments. Jax appeared beside her, quiet as ever. He didn't speak for a long time, simply observing the fields. Finally, he said, "You're changing this place. Not just the machines, not just the workers, everything." Maya smiled. "We're proving that humans matter, that intelligence, creativity, and teamwork can overcome even technology." For the first time, Jax allowed a faint smile. "Perhaps you're right. Humans do have advantages, it's just most people never see them. Most people quit before they can prove it." Maya nodded, looking out over the fields. "Not everyone quits. Some of us rise to the challenge." As the day began, drones gliding silently above, robotic livestock grazing calmly, and workers moving confidently through their routines, Maya felt a deep sense of purpose. She had taken the job nobody wanted. She had stepped into a world full of danger, uncertainty, and challenge. And she was making a difference, not with brute force but with thought, skill, and human ingenuity. Somewhere deep underground, the glowing tanks pulsed softly, reflecting light across the metallic walls. Hybrid creatures watched silently, their biotechnical hearts beating steadily. Maya knew that her actions above ground were only the beginning. The real challenge was still ahead. And she was ready. The twin suns rose over Rourke Ranch, casting long shadows across the desert fields. Maya was already at the main barn, checking the system she had adjusted over the past week. The air was still, the robotic livestock grazing calmly and drones hovering silently above. But something felt wrong. A subtle vibration ran through the ground, almost like a whisper beneath her feet. Maya frowned. Machines, animals, even the wind seemed to pause for a moment. She instinctively reached for her tablet and scanned the system logs. Energy spikes, sensor malfunctions, control nodes reporting errors. Maya's heart sank. Someone or something was interfering with the ranch's systems. She ran to alert Eli and the other workers. "Something's happening. The systems are unstable. The livestock could panic." The workers followed her to the central control hub, where red warning lights blinked on every console. Maya quickly assessed the problem. "It's not a normal glitch," she said. "The signals are coming from outside, like someone is sabotaging the ranch remotely, and fast. If we don't fix this, the livestock could destroy themselves." Eli's face went pale. "We've never had outside interference before. Who would do this?" Maya didn't answer. She didn't have time. "We need to act, now." She divided the workers into teams. Some would secure the livestock, guiding the robotic animals into safe enclosures. Others would monitor the drones and reroute their flight patterns to avoid collisions. Maya stayed at the control hub, analyzing the interference and issuing manual overrides. The sabotage was clever. It targeted the hybrid biotech systems, causing energy surges in the tanks below the barn. If left unchecked, the creatures could be harmed, or worse, escape. Maya's hands moved quickly over the interface, recalibrating the energy flows, stabilizing the tanks, and issuing commands to the security drones. Above the desert, the drones whirred and shifted, dodging the surging signals. Robotic livestock moved in jerky, erratic patterns. Maya felt her pulse quicken. Machines were predictable, but humans, if coordinated, could adapt faster. She shouted instructions, guiding the workers step by step. Eli, reroute the northern drones. Lena, stabilize the energy flow to Tank 4. Everyone else, calm the livestock. The teams moved like clockwork. They communicated using hand signals and short, clear words. Humans adapted, improvising when the machines failed to respond correctly. Suddenly, a massive energy surge hit the main barn. Sparks flew from one of the control panels and a robotic cow collapsed, twisting violently on the ground. Maya's stomach tightened, but she refused to panic. "Pull it back," she shouted. Workers lifted the animal carefully, guiding it to a safe pen. Maya recalibrated the nearby drones to prevent further panic. Hours passed. The sabotage persisted, each wave more intense than the last. The workers were exhausted, their hands blistered, sweat covering their faces. But Maya kept going, analyzing patterns, anticipating the next attack. Finally, she noticed something in the logs, a faint trail of interference signals. They were weak but consistent. Someone was controlling the sabotage remotely, sending pulses to destabilize the ranch's systems. "I found it," she said, pointing to a signal source on her tablet. "It's coming from the old communication tower on the western ridge. If we cut it off, we can stop the sabotage." Jax appeared behind her, silent as always. He studied the screen and nodded. "You've learned quickly. Humans can improvise in ways machines cannot. Lead the team. I'll support you." Maya turned to the workers. "We need to act fast. The tower controls the sabotage signals. If we shut it down, we can stabilize everything. Follow my lead." The team grabbed tools, climbing gear and makeshift shields. They ran across the desert, the wind whipping around them, sand stinging their faces. The old communication tower loomed in the distance, its metal frame battered and rusted. Maya led the climb, her mind working through every step. She reached the top first, securing the cables and cutting the signal feed. Sparks flew as the tower's systems shorted out, and a surge of relief washed over her. Below, the ranch began to stabilize. Robotic livestock stopped moving erratically. Drones returned to their programmed paths. The hybrid animals in the underground lab pulsed softly, their energy levels stabilizing. The workers cheered, but Maya didn't relax. She scanned the desert for any remaining threats. None appeared. The sabotage had ended. Jax approached, his usual calm demeanor replaced by something else, respect. "You've done what machines could not. You adapted, thought, and acted faster than the technology or even I expected. Humans truly are remarkable." Maya felt a surge of pride. She had entered the ranch as an outsider, underestimated and cautious. Now she had proven that human ingenuity, teamwork, and courage could overcome not just harsh conditions, but active threats. Eli approached, wiping sweat from his brow. I didn't think we could stop it." "But you led us, you kept us alive." Maya shook her head. "We all did it together. Machines are strong, but humans can think, adapt, and improvise. That's what makes the difference." Jax's expression softened. "I've always believed in strength, in control. But today I see that intelligence, courage, and teamwork, human qualities, are far more powerful. You've changed my view of this ranch and of humans." Maya smiled faintly. "We're not here to replace machines. We're here to make them work better, to survive and thrive alongside them." The desert sky turned golden as the twin suns began to set. The ranch, once chaotic and unstable, now moved with a new rhythm. Humans and machines worked in harmony. The sabotage had tested them, pushed them to their limits, and proven that intelligence and courage could overcome even the most advanced technology. That night, Maya returned to her quarters, exhausted but exhilarated. She thought of the hidden lab, the hybrid animals, and the glowing tanks. She knew the sabotage had not been random. It was a test, or perhaps a warning. Someone wanted to challenge Jax and his experiments, but Maya felt ready. Humans had shown their strength, not through brute force but through ingenuity, courage, and quick thinking. She had led, adapted, and triumphed. Outside, the desert was calm, the twin moons rising slowly over the fields. The robotic livestock grazed peacefully and the drones hovered silently, their sensors stable. The ranch was safe for now. Maya knew this was only the beginning. Challenges would come again, stronger and more dangerous. But humans, she had learned, could face any threat, adapt, and overcome. The desert night held a quiet promise. The ranch had survived the sabotage, and humans had proven their worth. And somewhere deep within the lab, the hybrid animals pulsed softly, as if acknowledging the triumph above. Maya sat on the edge of the fence, looking out over the fields. She thought of the journey ahead, the secrets yet to be uncovered, the experiments to be understood, and the challenges to be faced. But for the first time, she felt confident. She had taken the job nobody wanted. She had faced chaos, danger, and sabotage, and she had not only survived but prevailed. Humans had shown what they could do, and Maya was ready for whatever came next. The morning sun rose slowly over Rourke Ranch, painting the desert in shades of gold and red. The ranch had changed. It was no longer a place of fear, tension, and uncertainty. Humans, machines, and the hybrid creatures moved in a rhythm that was almost like a dance. Maya stood at the edge of the central field, watching everything unfold. The sabotage from the previous week had revealed the weaknesses of the ranch's systems, but it had also revealed the strength of the people who worked there. Humans had adapted, improvised, and saved the day when technology alone could not. And now, they were stronger than ever. Jax approached silently, his boots crunching on the desert sand. He stopped beside Maya, folding his arms across his chest. For the first time in weeks, his expression was calm, almost contemplative. "You've done more than I expected," he said. "The ranch runs smoother, the workers are more confident, and even the hybrid animals are stable. You've proven something important. Humans are not just tools. They're indispensable." Maya smiled faintly. "Machines are powerful, but they can't think like we do. Humans notice, adapt, and decide. That's what makes the difference." Jax nodded slowly. "I see that now. I've been too focused on control, on testing, on perfection. But humans can surpass what machines were designed to do. You've reminded me of that." Maya felt a surge of pride but also a quiet determination. This was only the beginning. The ranch could be more than just a place of experiments. It could be a hub where humans, technology, and biotech work together, creating something stronger than any single element alone. She turned toward the workers. "Everyone, gather around. We need to talk about the future of this ranch." One by one, the workers joined her, curious and cautious. Maya took a deep breath. "We've faced chaos, sabotage, and danger together. We've survived because we worked as a team, because we used our intelligence, creativity, and courage. That's human strength, and it's time we use it to build something better here." Eli stepped forward, a small smile on his face. "We've seen it already. Things run smoother, the livestock are calmer, and even the machines, they feel more responsive. What do you have in mind?" Maya gestured toward the central barn. "We need to combine our knowledge with the technology and the hybrid systems. We'll create a ranch where humans and machines support each other, where experiments are ethical, and where everyone can thrive." A murmur of agreement rippled through the group. For the first time, the workers seemed excited, not just relieved. They had survived the worst the ranch could throw at them, and now they had a chance to shape it themselves. Jax watched quietly, his arms crossed. Finally, he spoke. "You have my support, Maya, but there will be rules. Ethics, safety, and responsibility will guide this new ranch. No shortcuts, no reckless experiments. If we do this right, we can create something the galaxy has never seen before." Maya nodded. "Agreed, but we'll also need freedom to innovate, to observe, and to adapt. Humans need trust to thrive." Jax considered her words carefully, then extended his hand. "Partnership then," Maya shook it firmly. Partnership. The days that followed were filled with change. Maya led small teams to upgrade the ranch's systems. Drones were reprogrammed not just to perform tasks, but to respond intuitively to human commands. Hybrid livestock were stabilized and cared for with precision. Workers were trained to observe, improve, and communicate with both machines and biotech. The hidden lab became a place of ethical experimentation. Maya implemented careful monitoring, ensuring that the hybrid creatures thrived without unnecessary risk. Workers contributed ideas, often coming up with solutions that even the technology could not predict. One afternoon, while inspecting a new hybrid enclosure, Maya watched as a small group of workers guided a young hybrid creature to its feeding area. The creature moved with smooth precision, almost as if it understood the care being given. Maya realized something profound. Humans had not only improved technology, they had nurtured life in a way machines could never achieve. Jax approached, standing silently beside her. "You've changed this place," he said. "I used to think humans were unpredictable and weak. Now I see that we are stronger with them than without. You've proven it." Maya looked out over the fields, the drones gliding above, workers moving confidently, and hybrid livestock grazing calmly. Humans are adaptable. We can survive anything and improve everything we touch. That's our strength. The twin suns dipped toward the horizon, casting long shadows across the ranch. Maya thought back to the first day she had arrived, uncertain, cautious, and alone. She had faced fear, cruelty, and danger. She had discovered hidden labs, mysterious experiments, and sabotage. She had led the humans to survive and thrive. And now, the ranch was not just a place of survival, it was a place of growth, innovation, and hope. That night, as the twin moons rose, Maya sat on the edge of the central barn roof, looking out over the transformed ranch. Lights glimmered across the fields where machines and humans moved in harmony. The hybrid animals rested safely below. The workers were content and the air was filled with a quiet energy of accomplishment. Eli joined her, sitting beside her silently. "You really changed everything," he said softly. Maya shook her head. "We changed everything. Humans, machines, even the hybrids. We worked together, adapted, and improved. That's what we do. That's what makes us strong." Below, the glowing tanks in the hidden lab pulsed softly, reflecting the moonlight. The hybrid creatures stirred, their biotechnical hearts beating steadily. Maya smiled. They were safe. They were thriving. And the ranch, once a place of fear, was now a symbol of human ingenuity and resilience. Jax appeared at the far edge of the roof, silent as always. He watched the scene below, a rare look of pride in his eyes. "You've proven something important," he said. "Humans are not just workers. They are thinkers, problem solvers, and creators. They can take a harsh world and make it thrive. That is something worth protecting." Maya nodded, feeling the weight of his words. "And now we can do even more. This ranch can become a hub for humans, machines, and hybrid life. A place where ingenuity and morality go hand in hand. A place where survival is just the beginning, not the limit." Over the next few weeks, the transformation continued. Workers learned to trust their instincts and knowledge, machines adapted to human oversight, and hybrid creatures thrived under careful attention. Maya implemented new programs to monitor energy, growth, and behavior, always combining human observation with technological precision. One evening, as the desert sky glowed with the colors of sunset, Maya and Jack stood together at the edge of the central field. The ranch below hummed with life, energy, and harmony. "You've changed the ranch," Jack said quietly. "And in doing so, you've changed me. I've always sought control, perfection, and efficiency. But humans bring something more: adaptability, courage, intelligence, and the ability to see what machines cannot." Maya smiled. "That's what we do. We face challenges, adapt, and improve. It's in our nature. And when we work together, we can achieve more than anyone imagined." Jax nodded, his eyes scanning the horizon. Perhaps it's time we show the galaxy what humans can do, not through power or violence, but through ingenuity, teamwork, and resilience. Maya felt a thrill run through her. The ranch had started as a place nobody wanted, a place of fear and danger. But now it was a symbol of human potential. They had survived sabotage, cruelty, and uncertainty. They had proved that humans could adapt, think, and lead. And this was only the beginning. The twin moons rose high over the desert, casting silver light over the ranch. Drones glided silently above, hybrid creatures moved calmly, and humans worked confidently. Maya stood at the edge of the field, feeling the energy of a place transformed by human courage and intelligence. She had taken the job nobody wanted. She had faced danger, discovered secrets, led humans to survive and thrive, and now she had helped create something greater than she had ever imagined. The future of Rourke Ranch, and perhaps the galaxy, was now in human hands. And for the first time, Maya truly believed that humans could face any challenge, adapt, and not just survive but thrive. Because that was what they did. Humans endured, humans adapted, humans triumphed, and Rourke Ranch stood as proof.